Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jen at KetosisMom. We're going to be going over a lot of really great stuff today. I'm going to be talking about a few updates that I've seen with Tirzepatide, Zepbound in particular. I'm also going to be going over some things that you can do to try to change your habits while you're on these drugs, because I know that they are affecting everyone in a different way. It works really great for some people. It's not so great for other people. So let's talk about some things that you can do alongside this medication that's gonna help you in the long run anyway. Because if you remember from previous videos of mine, they don't really know what long-term looks like on any of these drugs. There's only about 72 weeks of studies currently. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about what we can do on our side. First thing is first, today I am also going to be gifting away another $15 Amazon gift card to my engagement people down below. So make sure that each time I ask you to comment on something or tell me your thoughts on something, that you place those comments down below, and maybe you'll win that gift away. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I want to ask everybody a question first, which is, what is something that you personally have quit doing since you started taking whatever medicine you're on, whether it's Tirzepatide, whether it's Ozempic, Wegovy, mounjaro, a compound, one of the Contrave pills, anything like that that you're using for weight loss. I would love for you guys to comment down below and tell me what's one thing that you were doing habitually that you have stopped doing since you started taking this. I'm gonna give a really great example. I know in previous videos I told everybody about my obsession with Starbucks coffee, as well as Chick-fil-A drive-thru for both myself and my children. And so I've been saving a lot of money by not doing those things. But something else that I didn't even realize that I was not doing was having the occasional alcoholic beverage. I was not having any type of drinks whatsoever for the last 11 weeks. I've been to a lot of events where they've been, I just haven't had any. I had one at Derby. No, it was no good. It didn't taste right. It was not satisfying. I didn't even want it. And it also made me feel awful later. So that's my one newbie that has come across, that I used to love having a mint julep, especially at the horse track out at Churchill Downs. However, it wasn't all it was cut out to be for me anymore. So maybe my taste buds are changing, or maybe this medicine is just changing the way that my brain interprets taste. I'm not really sure, but I would love to hear feedback from you, especially because when we first started looking into this, I believe on either week 1 or 2, I had discussed a Canadian doctor that had concerns with the weight loss results with patients. The doctor had discussed that I had watched on YouTube, and hopefully I can find it again, and if I can, I'll put it up for you guys, and at least the link down below. But he was discussing on a podcast about the weight loss of patients being a 50-50 result of 50% muscle and 50% fat. Maybe we covered that during our maintaining muscle video. I digress. He also was discussing that a lot of people were drinking more during this time because they would go out to things like happy hour with their friends, and they didn't necessarily feel like they wanted to eat anything, but they did feel like, you know, hey, yeah, maybe I could have a margarita or whatever your drink of choice is, and they were drinking more. So I would love to know if that was the case with anyone who has been on this journey for a while, or you're just starting. Are you drinking more? Are you drinking less? What are you doing more of? And what are you doing less of that is surprising to you? I love to hear other people's comments, because for me, I'm basically eating whole foods. If I try to eat anything that is within any type of package, for some reason, it has a weird aftertaste to me. It has a weird texture. It's nothing that I'm really interested in or feel like I could eat a lot of it. So I've basically been eating whole foods. I will eat carrots with hummus. I've been trying to make my own hummus, but I'm not that great at it. So the hummus is probably really the only packaged item that I'm having. However, it really is minimal ingredients. I've also, for like snacks, I did find some really great potato chips that you can grab at your local Costco. No, I'm not a Costco affiliate, but yes, you can grab them at your local Costco. It is just potato and salt, so they still are considered the whole foods or whole 30 if you're wanting to call it that. But for me personally, seafood, chicken, steak, a baked potato, corn, peas, strawberries, pineapple, blackberries, blueberries, give me all of it. I will take every single bit of it. So I want to do a couple of different updates today about Zepbound and Tirzepatide in particular. I do want to update everyone because I myself had this thought that if I got on the Lilly Direct for my medication, that I would start getting it, that I would not have to continue calling around to all these different pharmacies around me, trying to look for my prescription or see who has it in stock and then send a prescription over there. Because the fact of the matter is, both my endocrinologist and my Weight Watchers clinic, doctors, care teams, nurses, assistant staff, med techs, everyone I know for a fact is irritated with everyone who's on this medication because they're constantly getting calls about sending a prescription somewhere else, trying to find it, trying to help me locate this. A lot of the pharmacies around me I know are also putting up signs that they are no longer carrying the drug, period, because they do not want to get the phone calls anymore. One of my local CVS pharmacies has decided that they will no longer be carrying Ozempic, Wegovy, or either the Tirzepatides, which is Zepbound or Mounjaro. They said they simply do not have the staff to be able to answer the phones from people constantly calling for it. So if they ever get a prescription sent to them for that at that specific location, they are calling the doctor's office straight back and asking them to please send it elsewhere, of somewhere that the patient can go. I also saw other feedback from some pharmacy techs that some people put on some of the groups where they themselves were talking about how incredibly rude everyone that is on this weight loss medication is, yelling at them, cussing them. They talked about other shortages that they've had in the past with cancer patients, and they weren't even acting this way. And so they have even said in this little note right here that they are telling people that they are out of stock of it and that it is in shortage and they do not have it, so that they will go somewhere else with their prescription. Yikes, right? Not great business practices, but I also get it. I agree. I've seen multiple people literally just attacked from every single angle for mentioning anything that someone else disagrees with. I myself have received it on previous YouTube videos where I say something that people don't like. They go post it on a Facebook group or their Discord group or their Reddit group, and then they all come at the same time and come attack. I've also had brands who have affiliates go tell all of their affiliates to come and comment that I'm wrong and that their company is so wonderful and so great. So people are getting attacked from all different angles, and it really is quite silly. Everybody needs to just calm down a little bit is what my opinion is on that. However, I did have my prescription sent to Eli Lilly. If you guys recall, I believe it was back on April 6th. It took them, I will have to put the number up over here, how many days it took, because I don't remember offhand. It took them that many days in order to even get my license, my insurance information, my payment information, verify that I am that person. And then it has sat saying that it is unavailable since then. So Lilly Direct is not quite what I expected it to be or what I thought it to be was going to be. And so that was a little disappointing. I know what's really odd about this is that they had signed their contract back in March, I believe, with Amazon to be their fulfillment center. They do this through TruePack, TruePill, TruePack, whatever you want to call it. And what's weird is people have been reporting that they are getting their prescription from Amazon randomly when they check. However, that's just strange to me because I would feel like if Amazon had the drug, they would be fulfilling the Lilly Direct orders. So I don't really know who to believe on that one. And I will say, do not believe everything that you see on groups. Don't believe everything you see on TikTok either. If you guys don't know, I am a content creator. I do Amazon live stream for different products. I have made multiple thousands of product reviews, both on Amazon, Instagram, TikTok, even here on YouTube for multiple different brands. I'm also a Like to Know It creator, so I get deals through Like to Know It and campaigns through different brands and different branding PR companies in order to review their product. I've also worked as an ambassador, an affiliate, or a partner with multiple different brands. And yes, they do tell us when they need us to go comment on something to try to reverse whatever that person is letting be known about them or their company. So do not believe everything that you hear. Do not believe everything that you see. Please just look it up for yourself. Try and find more answers instead of just taking your favorite TikToker's word for it. Another thing that I did see, and this has not been verified, however, I believe last week, possibly the week before, I told you all that the Eli Lilly website has been updated to also include the vials on their instructions for use. So the pen is still there, but they have now added vials with a syringe and then the instructions for using that. I've also seen on different group pages that vials are now hitting the pharmacies. So if your next prescription that you fill is vials, don't wig out, don't freak out. It is probably what they're moving to, because if the pens really were the reasoning behind their shortage, then they're simply going back to vials. I know that a lot of people are going to have a hard time with this because I myself, when I started my autoimmune disease injections, there we go. I did not want to give it to myself. I made my husband give it to me because I was deathly scared of even seeing the needle, feeling the needle, and then wanting to jerk it back away. And all of those, Humira, Enbrel, Cosentyx, they are all auto injector pens where all you have to do is just hit a button or hit and hold a button, much like the Zepbound and Tirzepatide has been so far. So I have a couple of things that I have found, and I did tag them in my Amazon influencer storefront under YouTube video products. There's a whole idea list. I have tried to put everything that I've talked about in videos into this single idea list that I'll also tag down below for you all. I did find a couple of things that may help you guys out if you're not really into needles, like needles, know what to do with them. The first item is one that's going to basically hold the vial in place for you so that you can fill your syringe accurately and keep it going into the same place within the vial. One thing that is a little controversial about compounds has been that they're in a vial. They're not in an auto injector. And so there is some room for human error as far as contaminating the product that is in the vial by continuously re-entering the vial with a syringe week after week without properly cleaning the vial or having a sterile syringe that is entering the vial using gloves, things like that. There's a couple of different documentaries or I guess news series that I will also link down below for you all. There's one in particular that I thought was very, very interesting, and if you've not seen it, I do recommend watching it. They do talk about the compound aspect of this, they talk about Ozempic mainly and primarily, as well as Wegovy. But they do also hit on Tirzepatide some, and then they also hit on compounds, and then why people are using compounds, and just some different people discussing it. I do think it's a very good watch if you can grab it. I'll also look up and make sure that I remember what channel or what streaming service it's on so that you can check and see if you get it for you. The next item is an auto injector. Now, this auto injector is typically for patients who have to take insulin, and it is to take your syringe that you have and hide it on the inside of this injector pin. Now, I do want to tell everyone, I see mixed reviews on this auto injector. While yes, it does hide the full needle and injector, I think you should probably test it out. I would say buy some extra needles, extra syringes, and test it out before you fill it with your Tirzepatide for injection, just to make sure that you understand how the auto injector works and you can kind of feel what is going on with it. Some people are saying that when they're pushing on it, that it basically just pushes it down really fast and injects it too fast. Other people are saying that it doesn't work with all size syringes. And so you have to have very specific syringes for this. Another item that I used to use when I worked at the very first hospital that I worked at out of college are these. We had these down in the laboratory because we had a certain type of needle that we called a butterfly that we would be taking blood from patients. And these really, honestly, basically just hide the needle portion from your site or from whoever's site is looking at it so that they're not as scared or they're not really expecting it when it hits. So if you have someone that's helping you inject that doesn't mind seeing needles and it's just you that doesn't want to see needles, these are really meant for kids, but I understand as an adult who also does not like needles, that these could be absolutely fabulous for everyone. I also know people have bought both the auto injector and these other ones for their animals as well, that they're having to inject their animals with. So, you know, don't like needles runs across all types of animals of all ages. No judgment. I wanted to go ahead and put those up here just because I did see a few people, a handful of people saying that they were receiving vials after someone commented last week for me that they had just received their first set of vials. So I have not received vials. I have not seen vials. I don't know if this is a, you know, stamp true fact or not. I just know what other people are reporting out in my own comments down below, which I do appreciate you guys letting us know things like this that are going on because it does help, right? Along with that going on, and I know that I talked about the pharmacy tech that basically said like, hey, I'm just going to tell them that we're out so that they go elsewhere because I'm tired of dealing with them. I also saw on the Weight Watchers sequence group, there is feedback from the care team that they are basically overworked. And I see a lot of people on the sequence group going back and forth, just basically complaining. Let's just be honest. Let's call it what it is, right? You're complaining. There's a lot of complaints to Sequence, to the Weight Watchers clinic that, hey, like I joined this and now I can't get this drug. So why am I paying monthly for your services? I also had someone who follows me on Living Large and Lilly that had been discussing with me back and forth on whether or not they wanted to try to do this. Their insurance does not cover for them to be on weight loss medication. However, this is kind of odd, they will cover for them to be on Contrave, which I had never heard of Contrave before. It had never even been brought up or mentioned to me before. I had taken metformin in the past. I've been on thyroid medicine in the past, berberine with chromium whatever before, you know, trying to see like maybe we can take this to solve some things. I tried all of that. I was never offered Contrave. I kind of just skipped right on ahead over to the GLP-1 GIP area. But I was kind of intrigued by this Contrave, and I did tell the person who messaged me on Living Large and Lilly, I basically said, you know what, I see what's going on here. A lot of insurances are not covering this weight loss medication for their insurees right now. And that's slotted to change, just so you guys know. Insurance companies, employers are all doing an evaluation moving into 2025 of whether or not they are going to start offering coverage for weight loss medications. I've read a lot of different articles about this. Basically, what comes behind this whole cost is that the employer is having to cover the majority of the cost for these drugs. So in the article that I read, it said that if 52 employees at their work start taking this drug, based on the cost that the insurance is telling them that they would get charged, it was upwards of $1 million that has not been planned for in any type of budget for benefits. And so they're having to make this decision of, does it make more sense to cover this for our employees so that they can lose weight, so that they don't get these other diseases or have to have these other surgeries and be out longer? Because in reality, if someone went for some type of gastric bypass surgery or sleeve, they're going to miss work and they're going to be out of work. However, if they start these injections that are basically kind of doing the same thing as far as slowing down the food process, wanting you to eat less, cutting down food noise to where you can lose weight, much like a gastric surgery, does it make sense for us to just cover it so that we don't have these other costs and employees out sick, right? Or on FMLA or short-term medical leave or whatever it is that they happen to be on for their surgeries or their treatments. So I feel like employers, finance teams, and insurance companies are trying to like weigh out what is the bigger benefit, because they know that if they start covering this for employees, yeah, they're going to have employees that are happy about that. They're going to have happier employees. They're going to have employees that are more engaged. They're going to have employees that are like eating correctly, that are wanting to exercise more. And basically, when you have a happier employee because of things going on externally outside of work, then you get a much better employee at work. So I know that they're all kind of weighing out how that's going to look in the future. I know that Weight Watchers Clinic is, and all the care team is very just, they've had it just like pharmacy techs and pharmacists basically. There's nothing that they can do. Like, so there's nothing your pharmacist can do. There's nothing that a Weight Watchers Clinic care team can do. There's nothing your doctor can do. The only thing that can be done is for manufacturing to increase, which, I mean, unless you're going to start running 24/7, you're going to add a whole third shift. You're going to have all of that overhead. You might even not have the capacity to do that. Coming from manufacturing background, there is a cleaning cycle that has to go through the entire manufacturing system in between batches that have been created. It also takes a certain amount of time for each test that has to be done on the lot to pass before that specific area can continue on in the manufacturing process. So it really just is kind of up to what your timing looks like. So do you have the timing to add in a third shift, or do you not? And I'm going to say that most of the time, manufacturers are not going to go for a third shift. Working in manufacturing before, they will work you 16 to 18 hours before they let you go home and tell you to be right back in the morning. But I've also seen that the FDA is starting to crack down on that as well, because when they come in to do audits, they have started asking the employees how long they have been there and how long they have been doing the specific task that they are doing right then, especially if they are in any of the aseptic areas, filling areas, manufacturing, they want to know, have you been in here for your full 14 hours that you've been here, or have you been doing other things and then come in here? Because you do have a fatigue at a certain point where human error can really start to ramp up. So they're going to have to watch that. I know that it's definitely a thing, and I know that they definitely overwork their workers. As I discussed in the past, I know that Eli Lilly is adding multiple different sites across different countries even. They've also acquired other contract manufacturing services to now basically turn into their own manufacturing service. However, when you start adding all of these different people in and you're having to do a tech transfer to them so that they know what to do, they know how to do it, there's protocols in place, they know how to run it, they know how to test it, you're still going to have some human error behind that. Another thing that I do want to point out, by them going to vials, if they in fact are going to vials, a lot of their past 483s that they have received from the FDA are on their filling of vials, as far as not doing it appropriately as it should be done with environmental controls. So that's not really a great thing to me. I will link that down below. Now, this one was for their Indianapolis site specifically, and I do not know how many sites they currently have on board that are manufacturing Tirzepatide, either mounjaro or Zepbound specifically. I just know that a lot of times when you have an original facility, the other facilities will go to that facility to learn how to do what they should be doing. And so if you're teaching them the wrong things, they're going to take the wrong things back and continue to do them there as well. Same thing. And I feel like everyone feels like I was just lighting in on all these compounding pharmacies for everything that they've been dinged on, which, I mean, I looked at one the other day and it just, their list of warnings, actual warning letters, you know, inspections, it just, like, it was forever long. It's not uncommon to find some type of something on an FDA inspection. That's what they're there for. They're there to look at, hey, what has your internal team found that we need to go look to see if you've been working on correcting it? Have you already put something in place to correct it? Is it working, or is it not working and we need to try to get someone to help you figure out what to do with this? Or you need to hire someone new or get PhDs in or get doctors in to try to figure this out for you. They are also kind of like an eagle eye that is looking at every single person that is there. Are they dressed appropriately? Do they have their gowning on appropriately? How long have they been here? Are they doing the exact steps that the SOP is saying that they should be doing? Or is all of the testing that is supposed to be done on each one of these steps within manufacturing also being done, documented, without deviations, without any type of investigations? And a lot of times they're going to look and find where you have open investigations that haven't gone anywhere. And that's also a problem. The FDA is also going to look at what they have previously found on your specific site and your other sites around you, and they're going to look to see if those come up again. One of the worst things that can happen with the FDA is if they came in and gave you a 483 before on something, and then the next time they come back, you're still doing it, it's still not corrected, and they have to write it up again. Talk about having someone truly irritated, okay? They are going to be like, didn't we already discuss this? Why am I discussing it with you again? The other thing about the FDA is, I will say this, I've said it before and I stand behind it. It really depends on who your inspector is, what their previous work history was as to how many things they're going to find at your facility. It would be a perfect world if the FDA could go in and a facility basically just lay everything out in front of them and say, we know that we have all of this going on, instead of trying to hide it, cover it up with protocols, cover it up with a quick investigation and be like, oh no, we knew about that. It would be wonderful if everybody really could just be honest. However, that's just not how the United States works. Maybe in other countries, they're like, okay, yeah, we know all this. And that's how things work so much better. But here, I feel like everyone's trying to cover up something and not be found out about something. And it's just not the greatest overall. Now, that being said, I know that a lot of the compounders are going, well, then why were you talking so bad about compounds? Again, I can't reiterate this more. Aseptic ISO rooms in manufacturing and ISO rooms or clean rooms in a pharmacy, that does not even hold a candle in the wind to what they go through in manufacturing. Sorry, there is no apples to apples there. It's an apple and a pineapple, drink. Okay, it's not the same thing. Okay. One thing that I did tell the friend who was messaging me through Living Large and Lilly about her possibly starting the Contrave, I told her you can't really find these medicines right now. Novo Nordisk reported out that they have over 25,000 people a week starting on Ozempic and Wegovy. 25,000 people a week starting on this. They have had a multi-billion-dollar increase in their earnings and also the money that they are putting behind all of their drugs. And if you remember, Novo Nordisk they have Ozempic, they have Wegovy, and they also have one that I believe is in a phase 3 clinical trial that is going to be the direct competitor to Tirzepatide once it goes through its full clinical trial and gets approved to be a new drug through the FDA. I have not reviewed any of the clinical trial data behind that drug. I will, if you guys have interest of it of any kind. I will also say that if you guys are concerned about not getting the brand name and you for sure do not want to do a compound, which I really don't want to do a compound, I may consider going and asking if I really can't obtain it, going and trying the Contrave, which is really just the hunger portion and trying to control your appetite in a different form. I did tell my friend or the lady who messaged me on Living Large and Lilly that if it was me and I was just now starting, I would say, okay, Weight Watchers, I'm going to try this. And then once I see how this goes, and if it works or it doesn't work, then whenever the shortage is over or things start coming back in stock more readily, then I might want to move on into the next, whatever the next option may be. When I was talking to my husband about this, I told him that not only does Novo Nordisk have something in their pipeline that's coming, but Amgen also has something very promising as well, which they are not sharing any of their clinical trial data. They are very tight-lipped about it because what they're looking at is an injection that you possibly only have to take once a month, if not once every few months, which sounds to me like they have figured out a way to do some type of time release of the drug, which would be fantastic. However, I don't really know if they're going to price it more or price it the same, or what insurances are going to feel about that. So you have a couple of new things. There's also a company called Palatine Technologies that has a new clinical trial that they're looking at, coupled with Tirzepatide for a different component as well. So of course I talk about all of this with my husband, and if you're into stock, you might want to pay attention to all that as well. Because I do know that after I told my husband that and he went and looked, that the Amgen stock had just shot straight up. Much like Eli Lilly stock, just right on up there as well as soon as the Tirzepatide shortage kind of started. Another thing that I did find was interesting in the article with Novo Nordisk talking about the 25,000 people a week starting their drugs, they did say in there that they are doing the exact opposite of Eli Lilly. They are filling the higher doses of the drugs to make sure that they can manufacture and keep their current patients. That's a key. Retention is key. I used to be over patient retention at a cancer treatment facility, and then also worked with their revenue cycle to figure out what retention means as far as a value in monetary value. I will tell you that moving a patient directly into treatment and you just start them on the treatment and then they don't continue does not make you near as much as if you retain the patient and you keep them a patient. It is a huge monetary difference. So that is one thing that I think that Novo Nordisk is doing correctly. I think that they should be focusing on the higher doses, keeping those patients on their higher doses, with a smaller portion going for people who are just starting out to begin. Eli Lilly is doing the exact opposite, where basically the only thing everyone can find is the 2.5 milligrams, which has got a whole lot of people real angry, especially the people who were previously on 7.5, 10, and 15. To drop all the way back down to the 2.5 is a little hard to do. I also am not really sure, I said this in the past, how the board of both of these companies is looking at what their orders are. I don't know if they're only looking at how many people are moving on to and getting on the drug and getting a prescription written for it, which it sounds like that's what the Eli Lilly board of directors is looking at financially. What is the demand for this drug right now, and how many people are continuing to be written this drug right now? Whereas it looks like the Novo Nordisk board of directors and financial team is looking at the retaining of the patients and keeping them on with Novo Nordisk. And I feel like a lot of that also has to do with, they're the like OG for this, right? You know, Ozempic, Wegovy, those are the original GLPs that came out that everyone kind of got hooked on before they moved over to Tirzepatide, if they even did move over to Tirzepatide with Eli Lilly. And I feel like a lot of that with Novo Nordisk is that if they can retain those Ozempic and Wegovy patients that are on the higher doses, then when they come out with their Tirzepatide equivalent, once it passes through clinical trials, they can keep those patients and they can almost do what the insurance does with rheumatoid arthritis drugs, which is what my husband is predicting will be done with this. Almost like these are tiers. So you might start out with Wegovy or Saxenda, whatever one they want you to start at, because they also have Saxenda as well. You can start out with Wegovy, then you might have a choice to move to Saxenda or whatever their Tirzepatide equivalent is if the others don't work as far as the insurance tiers work. I know for me, I had to start with my autoimmune at Humira. They really wanted me to start just on a high-powered NSAID. However, I was already taking NSAIDs for a very long time that did nothing. So my doctor was able to just document that and then kind of bypass that. So I had to start with Humira. From Humira, after that did not work for me, that's when I could move to Enbrel. After I had allergic reactions with Enbrel, that's when I could move to Cosentyx as far as the tiers of the drugs went, as the insurance approving or not approving them. So I think we're going to end up having so many different options in this GLP-1, GIP, you know, whatever you want to call it, drug weight loss category, that at some point the insurance company is probably going to say, hey, we're going to start everybody out metformin, you can't do it, we're going to move to Contrave. Contrave doesn't do anything for you, then we'll do Wegovy. Wegovy's not really working for you, then we'll move into one of the Tirzepatide or like drugs. If those are working for you, then we might do a cost analysis on whether or not it makes sense to move over to Amgen's drug that you only have to take once or, you know, every few months, like maybe once a quarter. You know, does it make sense for us to pay for 3 to 4 injections a year? Or does it make sense for us to have you sent 4 injections a month? It's basically going to come down to money with the insurance companies and your prescriber benefit management companies, and so on and so forth. So again, yet here we are in the United States letting our insurance and prescriber benefit managers basically control what everyone can and cannot have. Let's see an election president go ahead and just put that on there, that that's what their campaign's all about, because I'll vote for you. Another thing that I do want to go over that I do not know if this gets a stamp of true or false. I did see someone also mention in the comments that they, I believe, were a part of a benefit program, possibly at one of the larger corporate companies that are considering covering this for their patients with their insurance provider. They did say that there was a discussion that starting possibly in September of 2025, maybe even as soon as this year, later in September, that in order to receive a prescription for these drugs, your insurance is going to want to see that you have a gym membership or that you are some type of member such as the Weight Watchers Clinic, which has a dietitian, nutritionist attached to it, as well as a fitness regimen, as well as logging your food. I don't know if this is true or false. I do know that it is out there in the world of discussion in forums. It does make sense to me that your insurance company would want to first see that you are trying to edit your eating habits before they're just going to say, okay, yeah, we'll let them have this drug. I know that I've had previous commenters down below that have gotten their drug through the VA that said that they had to go through that process at the VA as far as working with a dietitian and nutritionist before they were prescribed these drugs. And really, I even said to them back then, that makes sense to me, that they want to see that you're trying other things that might work before you just jump over into this. And so you would not be able to get a prescription from any doctor, even the ones prescribing compounds, unless you had this behind it. And I'm not really sure how that could become like an FDA requirement around these drugs. I don't really know how that would work or how they would keep people from taking the compounds that have not done these other steps, or if it's only going to be an insurance thing. I know that everyone who does have insurance that covers this, it's around $25 with the savings card from Eli Lilly. And so it doesn't really make sense to pay for a compound that can be anywhere from $200 to $1,000 when you're getting something that's the name brand that you for sure know what it is. It is for sure an FDA approved drug. It's been tested. It's been released for human consumption for less than $25. And that's kind of what is happening right now. You have a lot of people just very angry, but the problem is I feel like they're getting angry at the wrong people. You're not getting angry at your insurance company. You're not getting angry at your prescriber benefit manager. You're not getting angry at your company because they're not putting this on the insurance plan as something that they're willing to cover. Instead, you're getting angry at prescribers, or you're getting angry at pharmacists, or you're getting angry at your Weight Watchers care team. And so I feel like the anger needs to shift a little bit into the right direction of where the true problem lies. And that is basically behind insurance companies. It's also behind even if you have Medicare. I know that my mother has Medicare, and she said that this would not be covered for her under Medicare either. So let's talk to the government. Let's talk to those insurance companies, and let's get somebody in there that's going to be in government that's going to take this on. Thing that I do want to cover is what this is really all about, which is the tips for change to kind of get rid of some of those habits, right? So if the insurance companies are going to start asking that you are trying everything basically before they will let you get this as a prescription and get it covered, then there's a couple of things that I do want to go over. And what would be really interesting to me is I want everybody to comment down below if you have ever purchased some type of workout program, workout app, workout PDF from someone off of social media, and then you thought, okay, I'm just going to eat right. I'm going to eat the plan that they say to eat. I'm going to do this workout, and then everything's going to be fine. I am for sure that person. I have tried multiple different things. I have tried following the workout regimens. I've tried following what diet they have, and really none of it worked for me. I am going to show you a couple of things that do and have worked for me, both as far as physical things that I can do myself and change myself, as well as things that I use, like different apps that I use, as well as actual devices that I use as well. So the first thing that I do want to say, it's the very super basic thing, and I've reiterated it every single video, is making sure that you are weighing, making sure you are measuring, and making sure that you are taking photos for yourself. I'm not telling you to take these photos and make collages and post them everywhere on social media, because a lot of people are 100% not comfortable with that and also don't like when other people do it. I am telling you to take the photos for yourself, store them for yourself in a completely separate album, or put them, you know, on like a drive somewhere. But every single month or more, I do suggest that you take a monthly photo so that you can see for yourself the difference between when you started and then what you're looking like now. Because I know for me personally, this last week was my Cosentyx week, and you guys know what happens when I take my Cosentyx, right? So I'll go over my week 11 results in just a moment, but I have felt very kind of off this week, and I can definitely tell that I've taken my Cosentyx this week, and I don't feel like my best. I don't feel like I've accomplished anything. And so for me to be able to go back and look at a photo of when I started versus right now, that helps me mentally see, okay, no, you're making progress. We need to just keep going and forget this week, basically. The other reason that I do say that you want to measure as well is because a lot of times you're not going to see the scale physically move. However, you might see inches that are suddenly gone from different locations. And I don't mean just measure your waist, just measure your leg, measure your like double chin like I do, measure all of it. And so that's why I do love both of my Renfro products, because it logs all of it in an app for me. And then it shows me nice little trends and graphs of where I started versus where I am now. And that is also a visual thing that helps me overall just change habits. The second thing that has really helped me, I know you guys hate hearing about Weight Watchers. And again, no, I am not an affiliate of theirs, but the Weight Watchers app for me has been a huge game changer as far as logging my food, physically seeing what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, am I getting enough water or not? Because I'm going to tell you 9 times out of 10, you're going to think that you're drinking enough water. And then once you put it into an app, you're going to see that you're not drinking enough water. Okay. You're probably also not eating enough fruit and vegetables, just so that you guys keep that on the radar as well. I will say that I did ask my care team, if I were to come off of this drug because I cannot locate it, then what are the dietary changes that are recommended from their nutritionist? And they did say that they do recommend continuing to keep your protein up, maybe even possibly a little higher. And they do recommend to increase your fiber intake so that you continue to feel full longer. Now, as you all know, I have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And so a lot of different fiber options for me specifically are not going to work for me whatsoever. So I have to find different foods that are on the FODMAP that are also high in fiber that I can still eat. If you do not like the Weight Watchers app, you do not like the Weight Watchers program, there's also MyFitnessPal. They do have a free version. They have a paid version and a free version. I have used the free version for many, many years in the past as well. It too has a lot of things in the database to where you're not having to kind of guess on what it is that you're having. If you want to be able to use the scanner on MyFitnessPal though, to be able to scan things that you might be eating that's packaged, that's when you are going to have to now, unfortunately, pay for it. That used to be covered in the free version. But you can also save different meals, different recipes that you make yourself so that it's easy to log. I know that for me personally, when I start any type of new kind of habits, I get in like this cycle of where I'm eating the same thing on repeat. And so if that's you as well, then MyFitnessPal might work just fine as far as a free app. There's also other apps that, of course, if you're trying to do things like keto, right, and you're trying to eat low carb, I was doing that at one point. I did use Keto Cycle in the past. They will tell you exactly what to eat at every single meal, exactly how to prepare it, exactly how much to eat, exactly what you need to buy for groceries. It is fantastic as well if that's something that you would like to try. I will say that since I've been on Tirzepatide, the only thing that I count anymore is trying to get to my protein level. I'm not trying to stay under anything. I'm trying to get to it, which for me personally as a mental thing is complete opposite of trying to stay under so many carbs a day. I feel like you're depriving yourself versus, hey, I can have whatever I want as long as I get there, right? It's a complete total mind shift for me that has really been working really well. And that's why I personally just really like Weight Watchers Clinic better. You can also just sign up for regular Weight Watchers if you're not doing the clinic right now. So if you've not started taking any of the GLP-1 drugs and you're not trying to locate them right now, and you are just kind of starting out trying to figure out, okay, let's change my diet first and see how that goes, then you could just do the Weight Watchers normal like point system if you wanted to. If you wanted to try something that's lower than the GLP-1s that is more readily available, you can still use Weight Watchers Clinic for that, and then just discuss with the doctor when you have your visit, you know, I know that this is in shortage right now. What are my options that's readily available that I could start with, see how that goes, like they told my friend Contrave, and then move over into the GLP-1 area. I have seen that Wegovy has been a little more readily available. I don't know if that's just in certain areas. I feel like it probably is. I have also seen people saying that they are getting their 7.5 and their 10 filled of Zepbound recently. Also, I think it all is just dependent on where you are located within the United States. The other things that I'm going to show you all are different devices that I have purchased myself, just so that we're clear on that, because it helped me basically figure out what food I can and cannot eat. So the first thing that I want to show everybody, because I told you all that I have SIBO, this is a food marble. This is the Food Marble Air 2. And this is just a small device that you charge, and it measures your hydrogen and your methane levels after you have eaten different foods. They also have a really nice little full test kit that allows you to test different known issues with people who have SIBO so that you can try to narrow down and eliminate different food groups and food areas quicker. For me personally, I know that I cannot have anything that has lactose, so I'd stay away from real dairy. I have a lot of vegan dairy, vegan butter, vegan, nut milks. I have a vegan non-dairy sour cream. All of my cheeses are also vegan as well, because I noticed that with this little guy, anytime I had anything in that category, my numbers in my chart was just sky high. What you do with this after you've eaten the food, you will wait a little while and then you simply blow into the end of this, and it will have a light that lights up all the way around it. And I don't think it's charged right now. Yeah, I got to charge it. It's not charged right now, but there's a light that lights up all the way around it to let you know that it is ready to take your measurement. And you can blow into this and it will give you a nice little chart of what your SIBO is doing. Is it producing additional gases within your body to make your stomach expand, or do you really not have an effect on what you just ate? So when I first started doing this, that's when I realized that chicken and potatoes were my friend, because I had the lowest SIBO levels with the hydrogen and methane whenever I would eat chicken, and just plain chicken and vegetables. I also know that eating any type of fried food is a no-no for me. I also know that a lot of vegetables, and I mean a lot of vegetables, are also a no-no for me. And that's all because of this little device right here. So if you do have bloating, or you've been told that you have SIBO and you need to eat basically foods that are on a FODMAP, but maybe you're starting to eat some of the foods on the FODMAP and they too are also causing bloating or causing discomfort for you, then you might want to try this out. They have two different ones. They have the original Air that only measures the hydrogen, and then the Air 2, which is this one, measures both the hydrogen and methane. So you get a nice little graph. They're going to want you to blow multiple times a day so that they can see what the overgrowth is doing and how it's reacting. Do you have things down there that are fermenting and creating more gases? And then you also log your food within this app so that it can give you kind of like a green light or like a yellow or a red on some of these, like, okay, that wasn't so great. Maybe let's limit that to just every now and again, or this was definitely not for you. Don't eat it anymore. So this really helped me basically just identify things that I can eat and not have problems. And I still use this anytime I kind of feel odd, which is how I know that both onions, any type of onion, any type of garlic, even a garlic like powder or a garlic spice is not something that I can have. And I only know that because I am sitting listening to my own body. And then I also have a device that I can go blow in that basically just supports how I'm feeling as well, for me to say, okay, no, that's not for me. Another device that I did by myself is the Lumen. And I'm sure you all have seen this all over social media. The Lumen device is the hack your metabolism so that you know when you're burning carbs or when you're burning fat. This is the device that basically I thought that I would be 100% against when I was doing keto, because I thought there's no way that I am going to be able to eat carbs and still be burning fat. That's just not going to happen for me. I did use this. After I used this for about a month, and I looked at what time of day my body was burning carbs, and then what time of day and after what type of activities my body was burning fat, or if I was waking up in fat burn, because you do want to wake up underneath, this is on a scale of 5, so you want to wake up underneath a 3 on their scale, and they do want you to wake up in fat burn every single day, which is basically the goal that they give you. You also will log your food in this app with Lumen so that it can look at what you've been eating and then what your score has been. You can do pre-workout, blow in here, post-workout, blow in here. You can eat, wait a few hours, and then blow in here to see how that meal is affecting your body. This is basically just another device to let you know if you can eat certain foods or not, or what time of day you can eat carbs or not. For me personally, I was really only able to eat carbs prior to a workout and still be able to wake up the next day in fat burn, or I was having to wake up in fat burn, eat carbs first thing in the morning, and then not eat carbs the rest of the day. I used this for a very, very, very long time. They did reach out to me after that and ask me would I like to partner with them, because they knew that I was using them already and posting about it on social media. So I said, sure. So I am an affiliate of them now, and if you would like to try one of these, you can use the code KetosisMom to grab one for, I believe, $50 off. They do run different specials as well on different months. I know that they have one going on in May that may give you a little more off if you were to grab this in May. But this is measuring your CO2 levels. And something that I really found interesting is most people think that when fat is leaving your body, that it's leaving by some type of excrement, when in reality, a lot of your fat is actually leaving through your lungs. Yeah, so that's why this is really nice and effective to let you know, are you burning fat? Because it's measuring that CO2 level that is let off by your lungs, which is what fat burn is. Fat is being released as CO2 into the air from your body. So that's why you also want to do like a lot of different type of breathing exercises. You might want to sign up for a meditation app that has you doing different kinds of breaths and breathing to facilitate the movement of fat leaving your body. But I personally really like this. I still use this on a daily basis. I always want to look to see if I'm in fat burn after I've done a workout. And I always like to look and see if I'm still in fat burn when I wake up as well, even though I'm eating completely differently now. So this is the Hack Your Metabolism device. And again, this is the Lumen. And between the two of these, if you don't have SIBO or you don't have any kind of issues with that, then this probably won't be for you. This one would be. This one is also really for anybody in general that is just interested in knowing when you're burning carbs versus when you're burning fat. And how many carbs basically can you have to where you still wake up in fat burn the next day, which is also an interesting test for you to do. No one is going to be the same. Everybody is going to be different. You do need to have a single device for yourself. And if anybody else in your family also wants to test, they would need a separate device, just because you do need one device per person, just so that you guys know that. Another device that I have had for years and years and years and years and years is the Fora. This is a Fora Connect. This is a blood glucose monitor. It also has a ketone test set in here as well, because when I was doing keto, I would test ketones in my blood, not urine, because urine can be deceiving for testing ketones if you're, trying out ketosis or ketogenic diet. Look, I got a little note in here from my daughter. That's how much I use this. She puts little notes in here for me. This again may not be for everybody, because yet again, it is a needle. It is an entire set that you get in here. You're going to have your lancet right here that makes it very easy and very simple for you to use. All you do is you simply take this top portion off. You will place your blue needle. Well, mine are blue. Yours might not be blue. Your blue lancet down in here. You will take off this top cap before you put the lid back on. You get the lid back on, you simply pull down this way until you see that nice little orange in there. And then when you stick this up to your finger and hit that button, it will project that little needle forward so that it pricks your finger like a lancet. You will then take that blood that is pricked on your finger, and I have two different ones here. I have the ketone monitor here, and then I have blood glucose here. These are just tiny little test strips. You may have seen these in doctor's offices or hospitals before. It's just a tiny little test strip that you put down in the chip into the monitor right here, and it will sit right out the front. I'll show you guys. So that it comes on. It's going to tell you that it's ready, which is just the CH channel. You'll take that blood, put it on the very tip of this so that it fills the top there, and then you will get a glucose reading on here. So if you are someone who is taking these drugs to try and lower your glucose levels, lower your A1C overall, then tests like these that are at-home tests may also be good for you to have as well. I know that this is the Fora 6 Connect. I know that they have other tests as well. I know that I have a uric acid test upstairs. They have additional test strips that I'll put up over here that you can also get for at-home testing. It really just depends on what it is you personally are wanting to monitor. I also have what is called a Keto Mojo monitor. The Keto Mojo monitor kind of looks at it in two different ways, where they're giving you a different score, but it really is more for people who are trying to be ketogenic and get into that ketosis state, which ultimately will really help A1C levels for a lot of people. Not everyone, but for a lot of people. So for me personally, a lot of times for me to look more and dive deeper into what my eating habits are and how it's affecting my body, a lot of times I need one or more of these devices. So I might be able to look at the lumen and say, okay, I had carbs today, but I still woke up in fat burn. However, even though I'm in fat burn, what is my fasting glucose level this morning? You know, is everything kind of aligning so that I don't go to my internist and get surprised that my fasting glucose level has somehow gone way up just because I've started eating carbs throughout this process again, which is something that I personally am kind of trying to watch and monitor on my own because my internal medicine doctor has no empathy, no sympathy, is very like direct and very hardcore. And I don't want to go in there and like deal with her being like that. So I try to monitor myself on a lot of my different eating habits at home, whether it be with me weighing myself, measuring myself, logging my activity, you know, my fitness, my food, everything into an app. I also have, you guys have probably seen it on my arm, basically every single video. I have a Garmin. I've had a, a Fitbit before. I've had Fitbits before, and I basically kind of landed on a Garmin after having a Fitbit and felt like, why in the world did I not have a Garmin sooner? My Garmin has a whole lot of different things that it logs in here. You can track all kinds of different health performance. It does track your activity as well. And then I link my Garmin into different apps like MyFitnessPal or Weight Watchers Clinic, you know, apps, so that it automatically logs and sees what my activity is. Therefore, I don't have to try and remember or estimate how many steps did I get today. And this is something that I do think that a lot of people should get throughout this process so that you can start trying to monitor just how much exercise you are getting and if you feel like you could do more or not. And so what I would love to hear from everybody is to comment down below of all the different things that I've covered, which one would you be most likely to try? Would it be the food marble for SIBO, the lumen, which tells you your fat burn and also when you're in carb burn? Would it be the ForaCare, which you can monitor different things like your ketones and your glucose? Or would it be a thing like a fitness watch, like a Garmin, that maybe you've never had and maybe you're ready to start trying? So I want to hear from you guys down below. Also, what type of devices are you using that I didn't mention? I may have already used them before and didn't like them, but I will tell you in the comments if you comment a new device and it's something that I use that wasn't for me, because I try to be very honest about all of those things. The last thing that I will cover, as far as, it's not really a device, but it is a type of test that I myself am considering doing after I watched this Netflix documentary right here. It is talking more about your microbiome, which is within your gut. I know for me that I have a lot of GI issues as is already, much like a lot of the people who were in that documentary. However, I do find it interesting that they can now test to see what type of bacteria that you do have down there. And they can also even test to see what specific type of IBS you may have. If you have any other type of weird growths or things down there that shouldn't be there, they can tell you that as well. So I know that in the documentary, they were using this test kit right here that I do find intriguing and I would like to possibly try to use. You do have a meeting with one of their scientists after they get your results to kind of walk you through all of it. And it looks like it also does, much like the other things, give you a list of food that is things that you can and cannot have that will not upset your digestive system. So I thought that was very interesting. I also found, I believe it's called Ombre, or I'm going to say Ombre, it might be Ombre, that is probably the more cost efficient one that does a lot of the same things, but you might not get that kind of like full background of everything that you should or should not be eating. And then there's another one that is called Vial as well that I have kind of seen everywhere, but they also have like supplements. behind them that they're wanting you to kind of buy their supplements. And I'm not a huge supplement person. I've taken supplements before and kind of realized they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And then I also started questioning, you know, is this really what they're claiming it is, or is it not? And so I stopped taking supplements a while back for that reason. And plus I felt like a lot of the supplements were upsetting my digestive system more than actually helping it. So I am interested in these as far as just testing to know, basically, because I feel like the more knowledge you have, the better, especially when it comes to your personal, individual person. Nobody really knows what you feel as a person better than you. And so a lot of times tests like this can just kind of justify how you feel after you eat something and be like, oh, okay, that's why I can't have garlic. And so I do find these very intriguing. I have also tried before, it is called 5 strands, and I had to send in my hair, yes, my actual hair, pulling the root out from different places on, you know, they wanted some short hairs from places like your arm. They wanted longer hairs from places on your head. And that was a DNA testing of basically what type of imbalances I had in my body or what I was having a reaction to that they were testing my DNA with. What I did find a little interesting about that was a lot of the foods that I was eating on a regular basis, for instance, Earl Grey tea, it came back, I was drinking it on a daily basis, and it came back that that was a red item for me that I should eliminate and not have in my diet. And there was a lot of foods that I was eating on a daily basis that came back and said like, hey, no, you have a high intolerance to this. And so I kind of questioned with that test if it was finding those things already there because I had them so much and so frequently, or if I really shouldn't be eating those things that I was eating frequently, and that is what caused a lot of the GI upset to begin with. Either way, it was very informative, and they also give you an app that goes through and tells you like what is in the green that you for sure can eat, what is in yellow that you should possibly consider eliminating or eating sparingly, and then also what is in red that they're saying that based on your DNA, you for sure should not eat it. So it was very helpful. I had a list on my fridge for a very long time of like, here's what I can eat. Here's what I'm definitely not going to be eating. I had a harder time sticking to that based off of the 5 strands test than I did just kind of putting a FODMAP up and saying, okay, these are probably going to cause me digestive upset, and I'm going to stick with the things that it's saying that are going to be okay for SIBO specifically on the top. These are all interesting things to me. I have not tried any of them yet. I would be very interested to try the microbiome ones. I did try the 5 strands ones, and I already have my full report on that. I'm a very big person on, as you guys know, data. And so when it comes to me, I kind of try to pull from like everything that I can and every little aspect that I can and try to piece it all together myself, because I really don't feel that there's any doctor that is looking at you from a full body holistic type of view. There are doctors who are DOs, which are supposed to really be doing that. However, I've had DO doctors in the past that were really just the doctors that just want to know what you're there for right then. They want you in and out like this. And they don't really want to listen to what all you have going on. So sometimes you can get little devices or little tests that can just help you figure things out for yourself of how your body is reacting to different things. And a lot of times our body's reaction is coming from things that we consume. So a lot of this focuses around food. And I do know that if it comes to the point where I cannot find my Zepbound to be able to take it, that trying to keep my changed habits of eating whole foods, eating so that I know that I'm in fat burn, or that it's not spiking my glucose level is going to be something that I'm going to have a heightened monitoring of at home for myself until I can get back on the medicine again. And so I wanted to cover all of those different options that I personally do at my house, on myself, for myself, to know that I'm making the correct changes, because I know that my rheumatologist, when I saw him last week, he basically said, what is the long-term plan for the tirzepatide? You're going to be on Cosentyx from now until the end of time. If it's up to me, I don't really care that it makes you gain weight. However, if you're on tirzepatide to combat that, then great. But if it's not something that you can stay on long term, then we're going to have to discuss, are you going to ask to come off of the Cosentyx because it's making you gain weight? Basically, I told him yes, that if it ever gets to the point where I'm not able to take the tirzepatide to get this weight that the Cosentyx has made me gain off, then I'm not going to want to continue it, because if I continue to gain every single month on the Cosentyx, at some point I'm not going to be able to move or walk anyway. And he does get that. And I told him I would follow up with the endocrinologist as well as the Weight Watchers Clinic doctor on, hey, what are we looking at long term? However, I did tell him that most doctors right now are going to tell you that they do not know what long term looks like at this point in time. And he understood that, sort of. He's not really on the up and up on all of the weight loss medications and what kind of data is around them right now. He's a rheumatologist. That's his field. That's where he stays. But I did tell him I would at least ask. So speaking of weight, we're going to go over my week 11 results. I am only down by 0.6 pounds. Ugh. And what makes me even angrier about this is that if you guys remember last week, I said on the weekend I had lost, I think it was like 3.4 or 3.6 pounds. But then by the time Wednesday came around, it was down to only 2.2 pounds. So I had gained weight between Saturday and Wednesday. So basically, by losing the 0.6 pounds this week on my Cosentyx injection week, which I normally know that I'm not really going to lose anything, I might even gain, I'm still not even down to the full like 3.4 or 3.6 that I was not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. So for the past 2.5, 3 weeks, I've been kind of teetering in the same zone, where it's just, I'm right here. There's really not a lot coming off. So I did message my Weight Watchers Clinic and I asked them if they could potentially start trying to find somewhere that does have the 5 milligram, because I feel like being back down on the 2.5 milligram along with my Cosentyx injection is just kind of keeping me right here in this same spot. And I'm not really getting past it. I don't really have a lot of food noise. However, when I took my Cosentyx injection, the very next day, I went and got a Starbucks and I went and got Chick-fil-A. And after I did that, I sat there thinking to myself, that's weird, because I have not wanted these whatsoever on the Tirzepatide, and then now all of a sudden I take this Cosentyx and I'm having my Starbucks, I'm having my Chick-fil-A, and then after I had the Chick-fil-A, I still thought that I was hungry. And I sat there and thought to myself, nope, this is the Cosentyx telling me that I didn't just eat when I did just eat. So I just cut it, knew that that was going on, and then I went and drank my water. And what's so funny is now that I'm doing all of these and you guys see my BrewMate, my review video of my BrewMate where I turn it upside down and it doesn't leak even though it has a straw, that video has like skyrocketed on YouTube with everybody going, wait a minute, where do I get this? Because they did, YouTube did take out the links that you can put for these items in short videos now. You can only put links into the caption of longer videos now, which is very interesting. So that was my week 11 results. I took week 12 this morning. I will show you all that video in just one moment. Again, I am on the 2.5 milligrams of Zepbound. I have 4 more left on hand right now because I just took the last of the first box this morning in my left leg this time. It's just very interesting to me how all of this is playing out, because I really felt in the very beginning, if you have been watching me the whole time, I really felt like I was going to be following the clinical trial study timing very, very closely, as far as, you know, I'm on 2.5 for 4 weeks, I go to 5 for 4 weeks, then I go ahead and go up to the 7.5. And I know that a lot of people are not really upset that they're not able to follow that. I think there's just a lot of confusion around it. And then because there's a lot of confusion around what level you should be on and how long you really should be staying on the 2.5, has created almost like a lot of animosity in a lot of these group forums, where then people are arguing over compounds. They're arguing over what level they're on. They're arguing over how long you should stay on that level. They're arguing over, if you switch from Wegovy over to Tirzepatide, what level you should be on based on what they give. It's just, everybody needs to calm down. Everybody needs to calm down, and everybody needs to worry about themselves and worry about what they're taking and worrying about how it affects them, and then move forward from that path. So I'm going to show you guys my injection today, and then we will come back and I will announce who won the gift card for commenting down below last week.
So as I mentioned before, I am still on the 2.5 milligrams. This was my last injection from this box, and then I have another 4 in the fridge right now. I did not take this out and let it come to room temperature. You can still see kind of here that it is cold. I don't mind taking it cold, while some people do. They, say it stings more when it's cold. I was in a hurry this morning, and I was trying to get this done before I got my kids to school, so I just wanted to get it done. I always wipe my whole leg area down with an alcohol wipe before I even put the needle up there or take the cap off of the injector. Always make sure that it is fully dry before you do this. You're going to click, as always. You'll hear 2 clicks to let you know that you are finished, and then you can remove this. I always put the gray cap back on it, and then I put it in my sharps container. Today I did need a Band-Aid because there was a little bit of bleeding, so I'm just going to drink my water and go on my way.
Okay, so last week I told everybody, for engaging and commenting down below, that I personally would be gifting away an Amazon gift card for $15. So what I'm going to do today is I tried to take all of the comments and put them into one of those computer generated thing. However, there was not a good way for me to extract everyone's username and put it over into a file to be able to do that. So you guys get the next best thing, which was my children picking 2 numbers. One child gave me the number 7, the other child gave me the number 13. So I'm basically going to take 13 and 7 together, which is going to be the commenter number 20. I have my studio up right here on YouTube, and I have everything from newest comment down. I'm going to go to whoever was the 20th commenter based on my YouTube studio. I'm going to scroll all the way down. I'm going to go and count up to who's number 20. I'm not counting my comment responses in between. I'm counting the individual users 20 up. Now, I will say, if you were a user who commented, then commented again, then commented again, you're number 1, 2, and 3, just so that you guys know. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Commenter number 20 is at health at any cost. I will put it right over here. It says that you commented 6 days ago at health at any cost. You are my commenter number 20, which was my 13 and 7 for my kids put together. And so you are going to get the Amazon gift card from me personally. This is not associated with YouTube or any brand whatsoever. Also, you must be 18 or over in order to participate, a US resident, and I will need an email from you with your Amazon email that you shop with. So what I would like for at health at any cost is to comment down below in this, and I will tag you in it so that you see it. I just need to know what email you're going to be emailing me from so that I can ensure that the gift card goes to the right person. I've done this too many times on Amazon Live where I'll get a random email from someone that says, hey, I won your giveaway tonight, and it's really not the person who won the giveaway. So I don't want you to put your whole email on there. If you will just give me the last 3 letters or digits that is in your email, then that will help me to ensure that it is you emailing me so that I can get that gift card over to you. So congratulations, and thank you for engaging in my content as well as following along. Again, I'm Jen at KetosisMom. If you have not already hit that subscribe and bell button on YouTube, make sure that you do it so that you see all my videos as they get posted. I can also be found on Instagram at KetosisMom. You can also find me on Instagram at Living Large and Lilly, and on Like to Know It at Living Large and Lilly. I am also an Amazon influencer. I am one of the A-list influencers on Amazon, and you can find my entire storefront over on Amazon that is also linked down below. I will see you guys next week for my week 13 and week 12 updates. Bye, y'all.